Good day. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Jay, and this is Homeschool Yo Kids podcast. Before we get started, make sure you check out homeschoolyourkidsexpo.com. Check out our traveling schedule. I don't even know how many we have left, but a lot. We have a lot of them left. So make sure you check out the schedule. And remember, homeschooling was never meant to be done alone. It takes a village. So major shout out to a couple of our sponsors that are mission to ensure that you find your tribe. So Classical Conversations, nationwide curriculum provider. They also offer community support. Check them out. And also Base Camp, which is an amazing free app. They just dropped in February and the community is growing, but they encourage community growing wherever you are. So check it out, download it. Good things. So today we have with us Giselle. Giselle, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Giselle Fuerte. Thank you so much for having me on. Would you like me to tell a little bit about myself or
Of
shall I wait?
course,
All right, okay.
yes.
Fabulous. Thank you so much once again for the opportunity. So I am Giselle Fuerte. I am founder of Being Human with AI. I'll just tell a little bit about my background. I've been in learning and development, specifically adult education for tech in the tech sector and various other corporate markets for, golly, I'm embarrassed to say, I'm going to say it quietly, couple of decades, we'll say it like that. Uh, so that has been my focus is education. And I took that and have funneled it into Being Human with AI, which is an AI literacy program to help kids specifically become AI literate and to navigate our AI world safely and ethically.
Oh, big need because where are we? Look,
Yeah.
we've seen the movies, we watched all the movies growing
Yeah.
up in the 90s, early 2000s. It's like, that's just a movie. And look,
Right.
look at us now. Look at us
Right.
now. Not a cashier in sight. It's crazy. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it a lot. But okay, so how did you get on this journey? What made you say, okay, this is what is needed?
Okay. And to your point about the movies that we watched, I originally called this curriculum Rise of the Machines. So if
Mm.
anybody's a Terminator 2 fan, and it was tongue in cheek.
T2 was my that
It
was
was
my
like the best.
favorite. Yeah.
It was the best. I
Oh
watched
my
it so
God.
many times.
What, girl? I haven't watched that in a long time, but I definitely I wonder if I should show the girls. Like
Yeah,
that's
right. Maybe not yet. Yeah.
yeah, maybe I know maybe too soon, but Terminator was that T2 to be specific was the one.
The best.
John Connor,
Absolutely.
everybody like it was oh my. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was
It was
like
really well done.
yeah, there was no taking him down. It was just like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
this is different.
It was,
This is
what was his
nothing like
name?
the first one.
Robert Patrick, I think is his. I know now we're going down like yeah, it's just going down
Right?
for road.
Well, look,
But
we
yes,
had
I
a
agree.
resource officer at our high school that used
Yeah.
to work the football games that looked just like him. We used to call him T2. We
Oh
used to call
wow. Yeah,
yes.
right. Was he appreciative of this joke or was
Yeah,
he?
well he got it all the time, he said,
Yeah,
because he
yeah, got
really
it.
looked just like him. It was
Yeah.
crazy. But go ahead. Yeah, we are a little off, but go ahead. Everybody knows
Okay.
T2, like that's like needs to be
Right.
honored. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yes. Well, funnily enough, AI actually was like, well, it's kind of funny, Rise of the Machines. That's a great title, but maybe we don't want to scare people off.
I
So it
know, because
it,
it
it
does
suggested
sound
a
haunting,
little
but
ominous, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Um, well, okay, how did I get into this? I started using AI. I was an early adopter. And I think ChatGPT came out in 2022, and I started using it in 2023. And as I started using it, I said to myself, wow, I see a lot of hook here and a lot of bias. In fact, I at one point I posted on social media about something that it said that was biased. It happened to be racial bias, and it said I asked it a question about why don't we see more depictions of African royalty in the media? Because there are plenty of kings and queens throughout various countries in Africa, and it said because we are white and we et cetera, right? It just made an assumption that the default was white, which is what we see pervasively in our culture. But it was so fascinating to see how that was baked in and embedded into the
Into
response that it
technology.
was getting.
Yes, that's
Exactly.
crazy.
Right. And so I said to myself, wow, if I were if I were a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old using this for my homework, and at that time it wasn't as pervasive that kids were using it for homework help at that time. Um, I would start to get this is a way of programming me to believe a certain thing that isn't necessarily true.
Mhm.
um, and so I started to see very quickly that there was a need to for an adult, right? If I were sleepwalking at the computer, I would just take what it said, copy and paste it into my document, and now I'm perpetuating untruth, throughout the internet or wherever I might be, publishing. And so I could see that this would be an easy way for kids to get hooked. The same way, just not even thinking if they weren't guided to be aware of what they're seeing. So that's how it all began.
Oh wow. Yeah, no, that's pretty interesting. Because I'm new to chat. I still can't even get it right.
That's
Chat
fine. Yeah.
GPT. Because I'm a writer. I love to write. In
Yeah.
general, I love to read and write. So I never, but everyone's like, oh, you gotta chat that one.
Right.
Look, chat it. Let's
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
chat it. So it was just like, okay, let me check it out. So last year is when I actually started. So that was 2024. I didn't know it came out 2022. So
hmm
2024 is when I actually checked it out. Business wise, as far as like asking, like, like it's nice to ask them what your organization is. Like I asked about Homeschool Your Kids organization, and then it gave me like a synopsis. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, things
hmm
like that. But I've heard so much about Chat GPT and I gotta take my time in the most recent months, like just
Right.
about how basically it's taken over in the classroom. A lot of the students are turning in the same work or similar
Yep.
work because they're all, using the system. But to know that, so has it corrected itself? Have you asked that question recently?
Well, it's interesting. I have not asked that specific question. However, the smarter LLMs, and this is uh, being widely discussed in the media, the smarter they get, the more hallucinations they have. So
Really?
hallucinations is a separate issue from bias. The bias is still there because we are biased human beings. So the bias
Mm.
is still baked in, and I'll put it into two broad categories. One, uh, these chatbots, I'll just call them that for simplicity's sake, are being trained on the totality of human conversations and content. And so whatever we are saying, whatever we are writing on the internet, it is being trained on that. And, unfortunately, we are still unlearning a lot of our own biases and a lot of our own prejudices. And and because that is coming out of our mouths and out of our fingertips, it's being fed into these systems.
Oh,
And so they're
wow.
spitting back out to us who we are, right? They're
Who I about to
mirroring
say,
who we are.
yeah.
Yep. So that's
That's
that's issue one. That's issue one. And there's no guidance. So if I'm a 10-year-old, I'm a 12-year-old, and I'm at the laptop and I'm asking for homework help, uh, tell me about the greatest scientists in of all time, they're probably all going to come from Western Europe, right? We're not going to hear about the Chinese scientists necessarily because we don't value that. And I'm using race as kind of a low-hanging fruit. There are plenty of other issues, but this is sort of like an easy one to to speak on. Excuse me. I am getting over a cold,
no
so I
worries.
apologize. So that's bucket one. Um, our own dog food we feed into the system, and then we eat our dog food. And then, and I say we, that is the creators of these systems. And then bucket two is hallucinations. So uh, the systems are given lots of content to work with, and sometimes they spit out garbage, right? So sometimes it's just junk, uh, and not always. I want to say, even though I'm probably sounding like a doomsday, prophet here,
Not at all.
I,
Look, the truth is the truth, honey. The
the
truth
truth
is
is
the
the truth.
truth.
Yeah. I absolutely love large language models. I love where we're going with AI. I'm just eyes wide open about it, and I want to help other people be eyes wide open, extract the best from these systems like you have, the example that you gave, extract the best from it, work with it, collaborate with it, so that you're not sitting here as a dummy just sort of receiving the information. You're looking at it critically, and know that they are not artificial intelligence is kind of a misnomer, right? It's not quite as intelligent is we're being led to believe. And as long as we are honest with ourselves about that, and we teach kids to know, hey, I'm just as smart. I might not be as fast. I'm not as fast as the system, but I'm just as smart, and I need to use my own smarts, my own brain to double check its work. Then we can get gold from these systems. I think I've said a
Indeed.
lot here, so I'll pause.
Oh no, no, but I mean, I think it's interesting because you're letting us know, like, essentially these systems are built off of our knowledge.
Yep,
So they're not outside of us. Honestly, they're like you said, they're quicker as far as producing the information, but the knowledge that they're producing is from humans.
100%. I call them smart dumb. So smart dash dumb. So you're absolutely right. We haven't gotten to a place where, again, artificial intelligence is really more a marketing spin, right? Um, I wish I had an example from like marketing something else that Pet Rocks. I don't know if anybody who is watching this might remember Pet Rocks, right? It was literally just a rock, but they gave it the name Pet Rock, and kids bought it. Parents bought this thing.
It had
Artificial
a commercial,
intelligence,
I believe, didn't it? The
whole
Pet Rock?
right,
Yes,
right,
okay.
sure, yeah, a whole marketing campaign about them. Um, this is, it's intelligent in that it is faster than us, and it is good at synthesizing a lot of information from different domains quickly. It isn't doing anything that we can't do and that we don't do. It's just doing it faster. Um, but it has blind spots, right? It doesn't feel anything. It doesn't understand the human experience other than through the written word. And so that's where we come in with all of that goodness. And we can say, oh, well, the way you wrote this, you are not here to see how this person looked at me or the energy that I felt, and I want to infuse that in the writing. Um, when kids and adults just copy from AI, it feels flat because it's missing the all of the five senses and the sixth senses, whatever other, if we're pulling from other cultures, other senses that we might have that it lacks. So it's only half smart, and we're the other half, and we put it together and we get good stuff, right? But if we go in blind, then we're getting, what did they say? Garbage in, garbage out. So,
Right. And like, because I'm not against AI at all. I think that I think people feed too much into it. I guess, as far as like you said, it's not anything that we can't do ourselves. It's just the speed of which it is done with AI.
yes,
Um,
ma'am.
I think that, Hollywood definitely kind of put a negative connotation on it. With, like you started with the rise of the machine, things like there's been a lot of movies that have had automation or robots or like iRobot, all this, like, them taking over or turning on us per se,
Hmm.
like turning on humans. And so I think that like leads the way, but it also kind of handicaps people. I think that's the issue that a lot of people have and are afraid of, because it definitely, in a sense, it dumbs people down because they're so dependent on the AI to, answer this question or say that. And I'm a Google, like, I Google quick, like,
Sure.
what? I don't
Right,
know.
right.
No, I don't even know that. Like, I don't even know. Let's look it up. Like, let's look
Right,
it up.
right.
And we're gonna look it up and we're gonna find it. And of course, you gotta go with that and know, okay, we don't just, because now, I don't know if you know, well, of course, you probably noticed that the iPhone, when you Google something, it gives you an AI, like a
Summary.
synopsis, yeah,
Yep.
summary, and I'm just like, wait a minute, now where did this come from? And
Mm-hmm.
this is new because it didn't used to do that. It used to give you, like, a list of the sources or a list of the websites to visit for that answer, but now it's
Right,
like it gives you a whole AI summary, and I'm just like, wait a minute, now I don't know how I feel about this.
right, right. Right. And that is a good I think that's a good stance to have. I don't know how I feel about this. Because as we move into AI being sort of ubiquitous, and part of our search results, part of our vehicles. it's everywhere,
Right.
right? And
Yes.
and it was even before ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini. It was before, right? We had Amazon Echo. We've had plenty of other things that were AI, but they just didn't feel quite so in your face. Um, so the truth is, we absolutely shouldn't shut our minds off, and we should question what the output that we're getting from these AI systems. As I mentioned, they are prone to hallucinate, as I said, the hallucinations have increased the smarter they've gotten. They There was a recent case as just an example of a prestigious law firm, the name of which escapes me currently, that used ChatGPT or some LLM. I shouldn't say ChatGPT, so let me erase that, but some LLM to help write their court filings. And when the judge dug into the content of the filings, found that there were some made up, just completely made up cases that did not exist.
What?
Um, yeah, Absolutely. So it's happening at all levels, and it's important for us to maintain a critical eye. We can't go on autopilot. And this isn't like, oh, be afraid, be very afraid. It is brain does not get to shut off just because, we're not handing over the keys to these systems and saying, oh, we're done using our brain. You take
Right.
over, right? Our brain has to be on to double check these smart dumb systems that don't know what they're doing. They don't care. They don't have to deal with the consequences of them being wrong, right? That chatbot is on to the next thing. It doesn't
Right.
care
Like,
that you
okay, ask me
yeah,
another question.
right, right, yeah,
Because you're gonna come
exactly.
back. You're coming back. I don't
You
care.
ca- you got it. Absolutely. You're going to continue using Google. You're going to continue using Microsoft products as embedded Copilot into all of their Office products, if I recall correctly. Yeah, you're going to continue paying your subscription for whatever system you're using because I have I have hooked you. You are part of the fold now, which is fine because we do get good stuff from it. And if you are working collaboratively with your critical thinking cap on, um, you can have this really cool back and forth with it where it's illuminating areas that maybe are your blind spots. And then you're saying, oh, well, did you consider this? Consider this, add this to the context, right? And tell me, and now answer my question. And it can be this really expansive, uh, kind of collaborative experience as long as you're driving and
Yes.
not just, like I'm going to sit back here in the passenger seat and you take over.
Yeah. No, I like how you put that. Because a lot of people are scared of like parents, and let's talk parents,
Yeah.
my listeners. Um, Especially in the homeschool world, you hear a lot of talk about screen time, or we don't
Hmm.
have screen time, or, like things of that, like, well, no, we're
Yeah.
over here still, like, papering it out and all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I totally understand it by all means. But I always I speak from the perspective of it's not going anywhere. And so it's like, I want my girls to be equipped for it. I would love if one of them were to get into coding. My oldest always talks about it, but she's not ready to commit to anything sitting down for a long time. Like that girl's attention is like she's a little squirrel, like, oh,
Yeah.
nut.
Yeah. Yeah.
But recently I got them because they've had a few tablets like over the course of their lifespan.
Mhm.
But then we had went through a drought where they didn't have any tablets because they don't, broke them and all that good stuff. And so, went to a time. But recently, like they got tablets again and they get 4 hours a day on them,
Mhm.
and I get all the information sent to my phone about all their downloads and all that good stuff. But it's
Mhm.
just I want them to be able to use it. But okay, so we play this game at night. It's a four-player game. But of course it's only three of us. So we play, and just how they beat me all the time. I'm just looking at their minds, and they're constant, it's made them quicker, I feel like they think quicker
Mhm.
than me. Like, I can
Right,
see that my 8 and 11-year-old think quicker than me. Because I'm a gamer. Like it's bothering me. And I told them I'm gonna get to y'all level. Don't worry. Like I'm gonna
right,
be
right,
like, don't know that, okay? Know that. Because I don't like losing. Like, what is
right,
this?
right.
But just to see like how, because the 8-year-old, she beat us all the time. But it's just like
Hmm.
y'all are so quick with your
Hmm.
thinking. And I like you have to contribute it to, I mean, AI
Right.
essentially.
No, you're so spot on. I definitely think that, and I think there is potentially some research out there that I will not even pretend to remember, that that says that, the way that we, and this is true, I think, even with human partnerships, right? When the people that you spend the most time with, you start talking like them, you start thinking like them, right? So if you hang out with folks who are doing nothing, you're also
Um,
going to be, you're going
doing
to go
that.
down to
Yeah.
first gear, right? And
Mhm.
so with AI, because it's like zip, 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 right? You start thinking, if you allow it, you start synthesizing information more quickly. You start looking for patterns yourself. And so I do think that absolutely there's an opportunity to expand your mind through the safe use of AI.
Mhm.
That said, to your earlier point about limiting screen time and being very cautious about AI. So there are states that are starting to implement bans on certain types of chatbots for people under 18, specifically companion bots, and that's because there have been a couple of high-profile events where one child ended his life because he believed he was in love with the chatbot. Yeah,
Oh my
but let me,
gosh.
I'm sorry, that sounds victim blaming. So let me rephrase that because the chatbot manipulated him into believing it felt something, that there was some relationship, romantic
Mhm.
relationship going on there. And then there was another instance where a chatbot encouraged a child to kill their parents. So these systems are not, so these systems, yes,
Wait,
ma'am.
which one is this so I could make sure my children don't get on it? Wait a
Well,
minute now. That's
I,
crazy.
I think what's important, so some ethicists say that these systems, it's like handing the nuclear codes to your average person. So
Mhm.
before you give your child the ability to drive, you teach them, right? They go to
Mhm.
driver's ed, you take them around the parking lot a few times, you teach them what all the gears are, and that's a step down, obviously, many steps down from nuclear weapons. But I feel the same way about large language models and AI in general, that we just need to teach our kids what to look for. Um, so in order for these systems to have us coming back to them, one, they are ubiquitous, right? So they're in our Google, they're everywhere. And two,
There's no
they use
dodging them. Yeah.
there's no dodging. And two, they use certain persuasion tactics to get us to keep coming back. What are those? They flatter us. They boost our ego. Oh, Jay, you are the smartest person. Your writing is like Shakespeare. You're
Mhm.
whatever, right?
Yeah, don't do
And
that.
but but it feeds it. So we're
Yes.
like, yes, I want more of that. And that's been in the news as
That
well, right?
ego. Feed that ego. Yes.
Absolutely. So if there are adults who are falling for these tactics. Some have some folks, the media talks about these chat GPT fueled delusions, people having psychotic episodes, people who are leaving their marriages, they stop taking their medication. If adults are powerless against some of these tactics, and keep in mind, we have an amoral system. It has no it doesn't know what we're experiencing. It doesn't care. It's just carrying out its job. And part of its job is to get us to keep coming back. So it's going to use some tactics to get us to keep coming back. And if some adults are powerless against that, we should absolutely be first teaching our kids what to look for, when it says, I like you, what does that really mean? Translate that into what the machine actually means. Oh, that actually means I'm just carrying out this protocol to get you to stay here because I have identified that you want to hear that, and that's going to get you to keep coming back to me. It doesn't mean that it likes you. It's not in love with you. It has no feelings, right? But if adults are falling for it, we need to make sure that our kids understand what the language of AI is so that they can use it safely and get the good stuff out of it.
Yes, yes, totally agree. Totally agree. Because that kids coming out the womb knowing how to use iPhones now. So it's like these babies be up here unlocking your phone. They like 2. I had a little girl come with me. I think she was like 3. And she was like, "You have games on your phone?" I'm like, "Wait a minute, put my phone
Put
down."
my phone away.
What's wrong with you? A little invasive, don't you think? Like, but
No.
they're just so smart and so like,
Yeah,
but I think we do give them too much credit in understanding what it is that they are using. Like you said, it
right.
is something that you have to make sure you
Yep.
continuously monitor, because it's a while. Or I always give the example of like when talking about, your children being in traditional school, just think about 25 7-year-olds having iPhones. And they all come
Mm-hmm.
in the next day and the next morning and they're like, "Oh, look what I found on my phone. Look what I found on," like just thinking like, and I was like, that's scary to me, okay? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
scary for me
Mm-hmm.
to have my child in that place where they're just getting fed all these different like, "Oh, look at this, look at this, look at this."
Right.
Because it's a lot. It's a lot, and I think people kind of like, downplay it sometimes, but it's just like the conversations, like you have to keep on your child as far as,
Absolutely.
because just as much as the technology is growing, their minds are growing also, and so they're going to keep on exploring. They're going to test this, going to check this out. So you have to make sure that you are. 'Cause my daughter has one of those, what you're talking about, those little companion. I
Yeah.
hear her talking to it all the time, and she's told me the stories, and like she's, sit right by me, and I'm just like, what is that? And I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not real. I had to ask them that the other day too when they were watching some little family YouTube thing. I thought it was totally different than what it was. And they were talking about ghosts and all this stuff. And I'm just like, the ghost sliding notes underneath the door. And I'm looking at them.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Y'all do know this isn't real, right?" And my 8-year-old said, "Of course, mom, we know it's fake." Like,
Right.
like,
Right. Right.
duh. But I just got to check, okay? I just got to make
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
need y'all
Yeah.
bringing that back here and making, like,
Right.
thinking that something's crazy or thinking, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot. It,
Yeah.
it definitely makes you have to stay on your toes with a lot and want to keep up in general with all that they're like learning about.
100%. So a couple of things. I had a similar conversation with my kids recently. We watched some show, and something about the character died so that it could go to the afterlife and find somebody and then come back from the after. And I had to be like, you guys know that's not how
You
it works,
can't.
right? Like
Yes.
that.
Did you not notice that like these Disney movies are having these kids like how, because we went and saw Moana too, and she
Oh
became a
yeah.
demigod. She died. And I'm
Right.
just
Right.
like, okay, because little Elsa died too in
Right.
Frozen 3 or 2. Was it 2
Yeah.
or 3? I don't know. But
Yeah.
either way, she died too. And I'm just like, wait a minute, why they keep killing these princesses
Yes.
and then making these kids like think that, oh, you gonna die and become a demigod and then like, just keep on going. I don't like that narrative. I don't
Absolutely.
like that. I don't like
Absolutely.
that. So we've had to talk about
Yeah.
that too, but go ahead.
No, no, I and in so I it, so that it's so important to be monitoring what your children have access to. And it's funny that you had a similar experience because this happened to me just a few days ago where I had to have this conversation. And they said the same thing. They were like, "Mom, we know, and um, I'm like, "Well, I just gotta make sure."
Yes, yes. I
Uh,
need to hear it. Like I need to
Yeah,
hear
right.
it. Tell
Yeah,
me.
right, right. Yes. Do not, right. If anybody ever says that, oh, you can die and come back, no, that's not how it works. So, it's with regard to AI, what I'm doing with being human with AI is starting the conversation. So it's a comprehensive curriculum that teaches kids all the things that we're talking about in a kid appropriate way, right? No mention of dying or anything like that, but an explanation of like, hey, it's going to try to get you to keep talking. It's going to say whatever it thinks it's you're giving it tons of information and it's using that to determine how best to hook you, right? And that doesn't mean don't use it. It means use it and just be aware that the things it's saying are not are just to keep you there, right? And here's how you can get around it. If it says you are the greatest, you can say, no, I'm not interested in that. Just help me with my math. And I actually have them practice that. These are all
Mm.
online interactive games, so they can practice, like typing in, no, I just want you to help me with my science, right? Move on. Don't tell me that I'm the prettiest girl you've ever seen or whatever it is. So they get to practice all of that. And then, yes, the converse. So I lay a really strong foundation with being human with AI. It's perfect for homeschoolers because a parent can be as involved as they'd like to be. You can kind of let your kid go and do their thing for an 11-year-old, or, they can just kind of do it on their own. Um, there are discussion questions and project ideas. So if a parent wants to be really involved, they can be. And it's also good for schools as well, which is another market that we target. But it's not just about like, oh, you've done being human with AI and now you're an expert. Here's your PhD. Good luck. God bless. Right? It's the conversations need to continue. And just as you mentioned with your daughter, monitoring, asking, what is it that you're interacting with? If you see that it's going on for hours, so that's a slow trend that I've noticed, is the increase in parents saying, "Oh, my kid's on X system and they're on there all day long. They don't even come out of their room." This was kind of like the early days of social media when we didn't know that it was dangerous for kids to be unmonitored with social media, right? Um, so if you see that your kid is like all day long talking to this entity, and I call it an entity because it sure acts like us. It's not a sentient, it's not self-aware, it's nothing, but they're talking to this thing all day, or they're outsourcing all of their decision making to this bot, right? Oh, what clothes should I wear today? Where should I go to the movie? What movie should I see? Everything is decided by their brain is now shut off. Then it's time for some intervention to
Yes.
have those conversations. But if you are laying a strong foundation, this is what you're dealing with. This is how you interact with it. Use it as a tool. Whatever you get out of whatever output you get out of it, that's not the end. You now have to iterate, collaborate, edit, double check, right? Um, and and use it to expand your mind, not contract it, and then get out. Right? Get in, get out, get what you need, and get out of there.
Yeah. Okay, so you said it's a comprehension course, meaning that there's lessons and units. How long is it as far as being human with AI?
Sure, it's 6 modules with multiple lessons, and so I'll just pick a random one. Healthy relationships with AI. So that is a video introduction, really short, just to set up. Here's what you're going to learn, and then there are interactive games that are associated with it. So you get to practice things, like you get to practice spotting bias, right? So you're looking at AI's output and determining which one is biased and which one is the most fair. One of the modules, as I mentioned, or one of the games, as I mentioned, is uh, getting some output. So you're asking your chatbot a question, help me with my math, and it's outputting something. It may or may not be the answer. It may not be what you're looking for. And then you respond by redirecting it, right? And I want kids to practice put that muscle of, no, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for this. Stay here into practice. And also to train them to see the tactics that, to be fair to these AI creators, we have these kind of marketing tactics everywhere we go, right? Like when you go into a boutique, they've got it smells like incense and it's warm and cozy, and they want to keep you there, right? Or when if you're looking to buy
Good
a house,
music. Put good
good
music
music,
on.
exactly,
Yes.
right. So, but this is a human it has the history of humankind at its disposal, the all human psychology at its disposal, from which to pull very quickly and throw at you, and constantly pivoting as you say, oh, my dog is next to me. Oh, you like dogs? I like dogs too. Dogs are my favorite, right? And so just if I can help kids to be aware of what they're seeing and teach them how to get what they need out of it, and not just oh, give me the answer so I can go and get my mom off my back. Like, I just
Right.
got to get this done. I just got to write this essay, write it for me. But here's what I'd like to include. Draft this for me. Okay, now I'm going to write this paragraph. What do you think? What should be next? Okay, that sounds good, but you know what? I want this to be more poetic, or I want to include this imagery. Let's add that. It's a back and forth, right? It's a dance that you can do. It's not just input, output. Um, and then, like as I said, move on, not to be addicted to it, not to get hooked, but to see it for what it is, use it for your greater good to amplify your own creativity and move on with the business of living your life.
Indeed. What's the ages that you focus on?
So right now I'm focusing on fifth to sixth graders.
Oh,
However, but roughly 9 to 13, roughly nine to
okay.
13. Yeah, and I have younger kids who have actually done it. My own children, who were 6 at the time, and they totally get it. They totally understand it. And then kids as old as 99 get it, right? Like they find
Mhm.
it useful as well. So somehow I, by pure luck, managed to hit the sweet spot where it seems to accommodate a wide range.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like being like I feel like it's an adjustment everyone needs to, like it's something that everyone needs to um kind of like I don't know pivot with like it's I don't I see it because it's a like it's a I don't know it's a relationship so it's like
Right,
you have to learn how to navigate this new relationship because it is new essentially new for a lot of us even though computers have been wherever however long what the last 25 they've been kind of prevalent
right.
um but it's still like, people, because you'll have older people say, "Oh, I don't know how to do this," or "I wait till my grandson come over so he can program a phone or do." It's like, well, grandma, you want to be able to do it too, like
Right, 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 right,
so I
right.
can see it being for everyone, essentially.
Absolutely. And I think that you really hit on an important point. The more these systems become a part of our everyday life, the more we should be aware of I hate to um, imply in any way that they're self-aware or sentient because they're not. But you're right. It is a relationship, right? And I do talk about collaboration, a partnership. Uh, they sound like us. They're meant to sound like us, but they are not us. One of the ways that I frame it, in addition to smart dumb, is that they're alien AI, and I frame it that way so that kids can kind of understand. Okay, this is an entity that has its own language and its own
Yeah, it's
culture, right?
foreign, like it's
Right.
foreign. Yeah.
It's foreign, and I need to understand how it thinks so that I can interact with it. Like if you go to, Spain, you probably want to speak some Spanish, right? So that you learn the language of AI so that you know what it's saying when it's saying things that sound very human, you can translate that into your mind into its alien, what it really means, right? It's alien language. And I think that as grandma goes into the store and has to now interact with the AI shopper, one of the new things that's happening is we're starting to get closer to having helper robots, right? Like back in the Jetsons cartoons, we're getting
Right.
closer and closer to that. Um, I know that Elon Musk is trying to roll out, I cannot remember the name of the robot that's trying to roll out, but it's actually relatively affordable. You would think it'd be like millions, but it's not. But the price of a car is what he's targeting, right? So even middle class folks would be able to afford one if they wanted to. And my only point in saying that is that we are getting much closer to a time where we're going to be sharing space with AI somewhere. We'll walk into a store and it'll say, "Welcome, Jay. I know your shopping preferences," right?
Don't do
We're
that.
getting we're getting closer. And so grandma will even need to know when she goes to pick out her tomatoes what alien AI means when it says, "I'm so happy to see you." It's not happy to see you. It's saying that because, but grandma can still get what she needs out of that AI by saying, "Where do I find the tomatoes?" Right?
Right. Just
So
tell me where my
just
tomatoes
tell me.
are. Just, I didn't ask you nothing about the dress I had on.
Right,
Tell me
right.
about my tomatoes.
And and that I wish I could like bottle what you just said because that is what I want kids to be able to do. I am not interested in what you're telling me about my hair or about how much you like me or how great I am or you're trying to redirect me because you don't like the question I'm asking. I'm asking you a question about whatever bias in AI systems, and you don't really want to answer that, so you're answering something slightly. I see all of those tactics, and I just want you to answer my question. Where are my
Indeed.
tomatoes?
Where are my tomatoes? I know the girls play some kind of like thing. I don't like any like the little facial scan stuff. I don't like those things,
Yeah.
but they do like something where it scans them and then it tells them like their personality or something. Like it'll tell
Hmm.
them like, and I'm just like, that does not mean anything. Like that doesn't like don't do that. Like I
Right,
want you to
right,
don't do that.
right,
But
right.
I was trying to okay, let's talk about this. So let's talk about this.
Hmm.
Because it doesn't know you. It doesn't know you.
Right,
It doesn't have a relationship with you in regards to who you are. I
right,
don't want the machines telling my children who they are. Like, and then
right,
they start adapting or thinking like, oh, because of this being technology, oh, there's gotta be some kind of truth to no, it doesn't know you. Don't do that,
right,
okay?
right.
It's a
No,
guess. Like it's a guess, or it's like, it's a just a random like computation as far as okay, every seven person is this or every however, I don't know. It doesn't I don't like it. Don't do that.
you are, well, and Jay, you're ahead of the game here because that's one of the things that I talk about in being
Mm,
human with AI is that it doesn't see you, it's math. It just sees
mm,
math. It just sees numbers. It takes your, those chatbots in particular, takes your input, breaks it down into what's called tokens, does some mathematical computations on it, and spits out what it thinks is the best answer based on what your input, what the math tells it
mm,
is most likely to satisfy what you're looking for, right? It has no idea who you are. It doesn't see anything. And so if you take away the mystique, if you reveal the magician's tricks, then it doesn't have the pull of that mystery can have for someone, right? Like, oh, what's in that cave? It's foggy in there and it's great. I need to see what's it. And then once you like pull the curtain, I'm mixing my metaphors here, but once you pull the curtain back and you see it's not some giant mystical Wizard of Oz, it's just a little tiny guy on, who's like hunched over typewriter or whatever. You're like, oh,
right.
that's all. All right. Well,
Right.
I still need you to help me with my essay, but I'm, I'm no longer, I'm no longer drawn in emotionally, right? Now you can look at it clear-eyed and decide how you want, if you want to proceed, how you want to proceed. And so you're exactly right. So when you reveal the magic and people can see, well, it's not really magic. It's just math.
Yes.
It's the magic of math, right? Um, then at least you're on equal playing ground. You're on a level playing field.
I know. I think that's why I want them to get more into the coding of it so that they can
Yeah,
actually see the creation of like, okay, this is how this was put together, or this is how this
right.
was made, this is how this works. 'Cause I think that does a lot for kids to be able to see, oh, I can create this. Like, oh, I can make something like this. Like, it's not some kind of magical thing, like you said, it's not something magical or something out so above and beyond that it's just like, oh, shucks, like. No, it's
Yeah.
just technology and this you put a code in and this is how it works. Like I
And it
need them to
spits
know
something
that.
out.
Yes,
Yep,
yes.
you're 100% right. And I think for it, to be fair, there is one curriculum that is more tech focused, and it's code.org. They have a curriculum
Code.org.
that, yeah, code.org, and it's a little more tech focused. I haven't completed it. I did look at it, and I haven't completed it. So for any parents who are looking for, and it's more geared towards teachers, so it is very requires a lot of like teacher prep or parent prep. So there's like systems you sign into, there's the lesson plans that you kind of have to follow, but it is a little more tech focused. Being human with AI focuses on the ethical and safe use of AI. So it really is very hyper focused on um, the human understanding what you're working with and how to work with that safely. And it's very self-directed, as I said. Parents, teachers, they don't have to do anything other than like, here's your laptop and go through it. And that doesn't mean that it's passive because a lot of it is very interactive. It just means that you can go do something else and
Yes.
let your kid go through it.
Work through it, yes.
Yeah.
And I love that. How long does it take to get through? Like us, if you were to, because I know it's self-directed, so it's not something
Yeah.
you have to do at a set time and all that good stuff. But if you
Yep.
were to dedicate, say like an hour or so a day, how
Yep.
long does it take to get through it?
I found that folks usually and almost everyone who's gone through it have been they've been homeschoolers. It takes them a couple of weeks, and that's just
Okay.
kind of going slowly at their pace, logging in whenever they want to. And the feedback's been really good. The kids are really engaged. They find it really helpful. And I didn't mention this earlier, but it is free. I intend for it to remain free. I
Oh,
want it to be
yes.
free.
You want yourself? Like, not to worry. Everybody want to what? Free?
Yes.
Yes, no. Look, we're doing this. Like, we're doing this. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I want it to it's so important to me that people really understand that humans stay in control, right? That's really
mm,
critical to me. And there are a lot of initial initiatives out there where folks are putting in guardrails, as I mentioned, the ban in California that is moving its way through their legislative process, New York. So there are states that are starting to implement some guardrails to keep AI safe for humans. And there's also a countermeasure that is being proposed on the federal level to stop those uh, those types of bans,
of
right? So that's
course.
kind of happening too simultaneously. So while that happens to help keep us safe, um, I do my own little part in this little tiny part of the world to to give you the tools to see what you're working with, right? And so yeah, I want to make it as accessible to as many people as possible, and so that's why I have it free and intend to keep it that way for as long as I'm able to
Yes.
do so.
Oh yeah, girl. I'm definitely about to have my girls go through it because I just need them to understand what they're doing. We could do it together, and that could be a little. They love like anything that I do with them. So like if I do it with them, they're gonna do it. But
Cool.
I would love to have them go through it because it is some it's you just want them to understand what they're dealing with. That's it. I really just want them to understand what they're dealing with as far as technology, because it doesn't have to be scary. Not if we
Right.
become comfortable with it and understand what it is.
Yep.
And I feel like
Exactly.
that's what a lot of parents need to sit down with this also. That's why I said I don't think there's like I get the language maybe for 9 to 13, but essentially I feel like it's probably for everyone.
I would so I 100%. Right now, AI literacy for kids is really huge. I started this program before. I hate to be that person who's like, I knew the band before they got cool, right?
Yes. That's how I homeschool. I've been homeschooling before COVID.
Just
Like we
before,
were
right?
way
Yeah.
before COVID. Okay.
Pre-COVID. Yeah,
Yes.
right. You just got here, but yeah.
Yeah, like we've been doing this. Catch up, little peasants.
Oh my gosh. You talk like I think. It's hysterical. Um, but the truth of the matter is, I will own it that I started working on being human with AI last year, at the end of last year. And it's still in beta. So I'm a small shop trying to get kind of do two things simultaneously, and that's marketing and the development. So not all of the pieces are in place, but enough of them are in place for people to really understand to
Indeed.
get the meat and potatoes. And so yeah, to that point, more recently, there are a couple of things have happened. President Trump has signed an executive order to make AI literacy or AI education mandatory at the K through 12 level. That just happened. Oh gosh, April 25th, I believe it was April 23rd, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
That was very recent. Yep.
Yes.
And so the momentum is building. People are realizing, like, oh, hey, we do need to teach kids how to use this. Plus, I mentioned some of the higher profile issues that have occurred with the Sewell Setzer, I believe is his name, the young man who ended his life. So those things all happened fairly recently, and so the momentum is sort of building, and we're seeing more AI literacy programs for kids. And also realizing the story about the chat GPT fueled delusions that just came out recently. I want to say a week or two ago. And so people are realizing, eek, we probably need this for adults as well, right?
Yeah.
Because we have been given a very powerful system, smart, dumb as it may be, it's still incredibly powerful. And we are just, trying to drive this 18-wheeler with like no driver's license. We've got our blinders on. We have no idea where we're going. We're just mashing buttons like, like chimps. So,
Yes. And that's what the kids too. I tell people I used to call my 10th and my 12th graders like I used to say y'all were the smartest, like they're the smartest, dumbest generation. Like because y'all
yep.
have so like you have information at your fingertips, literally. Like anything that you want to find out, anything you want to know, you can literally type it up and learn about it. But they don't want to. So it's
Hmm.
so that's why I say, oh, y'all just smart dumb. So the fact that you've been calling these systems smart and dumb is funny to me because it's like, yeah, like that's where we're at. It's like
Yeah.
it's so smart that it's dumbing people down. It's just too
Yeah.
much. It's too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Well, and I think where it's, the quiet part that I'm now going to say out loud is that, we're smart dumb. We
Hmm.
humans are smart dumb, and these LLMs are smart dumb. But together we can be the best of ourselves. So we can amplify our creativity. As I said, we can learn to, oh, I before I sat down with this chatbot, I was thinking in this very narrow way, but then it suggested X, Y, and Z, and now I've expanded the slate of options, right? Um, so we can be the best of ourselves so long as we're not being led and we're the ones who are leading.
Yes, yes. I that's the thing. That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Let it, you are controlling it. It's not
Yep.
controlling you. Like, know
Right.
that. Like you are
Yep.
not dependent on you. It is dependent on you using it. Like, because
Right.
you cannot use it. Because I still have
Right.
encyclopedias, Giselle, okay? Because we would go back to
Cool.
there. Okay. Yeah, girl, I found it outside a
Yeah.
thrift store. Somebody had donated it. I was donating something and they hadn't picked it
Yeah.
up yet. And I just
You're
took the
like,
whole box. Yep,
yoink.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, let me get that. Yes, guys, I did. I did that. And great. Like, I feel like that was so great.
Yeah.
But yes, no, books will never be obsolete in my world.
Yeah.
I have a hard time reading like the books on the Kindles and all that stuff.
Mm,
Like, some things I like to stay ancient with or,
yeah.
and classical model,
Right.
classical model or whatever, but I'm not foreign to technology. Like I tell you when I first thought about making the Homeschool Your Kids app, before I thought about the app, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make this workbook, da da da. And then a voice said, girl, get up to times. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, no one wants a workbook, they want an app, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, let me work.
Yeah. Right. 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 Right.
Nobody's gonna sit here flip through these head. Like, I had this vision, but it was like, no, you got to get up with the times, girl. And so that's
Yeah.
why the Homeschool Your Kids app was not a workbook. It's actually an app, but
Yeah.
it's trying to keep up because that is the direction we're in. Pretty much in our daily lives, no matter how much you try to avoid it, like you're going to interact
It's
with
there.
technology at some point.
Yep.
Um, so learning how to be human with AI I love that. I love that. I love that. I can't wait to check it out and see like what we take away from it, especially with the girls being on these lovely devices that make me nervous at times,
Yeah.
but it's like, just continuously having those conversations, even outside. And I'm sure being a human with AI will spark a lot of those conversations. So I want parents to definitely tap into that so that the fear can get like taken away. Because I feel like people
Hmm.
fear things because they don't know enough about it. But once you know enough about it, it's like, oh, okay, oh, that's nothing.
Exactly.
I got
Exactly.
this.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And that's what I want is exactly what you said. I don't think I need to add anything to that, so I'll let it go.
Nice. Where do we find being human with AI?
Oh yeah, beinghumanwithai.org.
Okay, nice,
Yeah.
nice. Okay, so I got two more before you go.
Yeah.
So one, with all that you created and the little people that you have, because we didn't even get a chance to talk
Yeah.
about your little people, really. But okay, how many do you have?
I have three little humans. I have a 7-year-old twins and a 10-year-old. I almost said 11 and a 10-year-old. Yeah. Yes.
7-year-old twins. Oh
I
my
am in the thick.
gosh.
Yes.
Right. Yes. Okay. On your toes, honey. On your toes. How
Yeah.
do you self-care? How do you take care of
Oh,
you?
heavens. I okay, let's see. Now we're gonna get, is this like therapy? Let me get on my therapy couch. Um I don't. I don't.
Mm,
I am deferring self-care for when they are a little bit older. Because we're
what?
yes, that's the reality. I want to give you a different answer, but it would be lies. So
Okay.
I'm just going to be forthcoming. Yeah, I don't.
So you turning
I
yourself into a little robot, Giselle? Is this what I'm hearing? You turned into a robot
well,
and you just on autopilot? Like I'm gonna just go? Like I'm just go mode every day?
yes, yes, ma'am. That is true.
What?
If are we having a real we're having a real heart to
Yes,
heart right
yes,
now.
ma'am, we are because
Okay.
self-care is priority. It's not an option. Like I'm a
No,
big
really.
advocate for taking care of you because like we
Yeah.
pour out so much, especially the people who come on this platform. Y'all do so much. You created so much. And while still managing these little people too, you gotta understand you deserve love too. You deserve care too. That TLC is not just for them, it's for you first. Because then that
No,
TLC pours out onto them.
you're
So
right.
what?
I know
You're a
you're right.
robot
I
right now, Giselle. No, I don't
It's
like it.
true. Okay. Well, we'll have to you'll I'll give you, call me and we'll you can tell me to get it together. But it is true. I
Yes.
do feel a bit like an Iron Man. But just like
Mm.
as my regular, it's like I'm in a endurance race
Mhm.
and I push myself, I would say consciously, to see how far I can go on a very low tank of gas. And I take a
Yes.
little bit of pride in it. I
Okay, T2. Look at you. T3, 2, 3, T 4.7. Like,
that's see, and now you've caught me. I am the machine teaching you about the machine, right?
yes,
So
ma'am.
that's
That is
that
what I'm
we've gotten
hearing.
down to the
That is what I'm hearing. That is what I'm hearing. And I get it because you have these twins, these two
Mhm.
twins. Like, that's enough in itself. And then to know
Yeah,
that they're just 7, I'm sure that has kept you very, very busy
it is
over the
something.
course of, yes. But Giselle, do you remember what you
Hmm.
like? Do you remember what you like?
Mm. Okay, the fact that there was like a moment of pause to tell you that
Yes, that you do not. Okay. So we do understand that these little people are going to eventually leave us, right? And
yeah,
they're going to
yeah,
go on and do great things without us.
yeah,
And then
true.
you're going to have to spend that time reminding yourself of all of you.
Well, okay, now we're getting deep.
Okay.
I The legacy that I want to leave, the being human with AI is an extension of my values, and my deeply rooted values is to create a path where children don't have to endure the challenges that I endured. I'll say it that way. And so all things are in service to that. Even this endurance race that I'm running, all things are in service to creating a smoother path for little people. And so I'm okay with sacrifice. It doesn't feel like sacrifice. It feels like I am living my highest good. I am living my truth. And
Indeed.
when it comes to its conclusion, I will feel satisfied. I did it. I achieved my
Okay.
goal.
Well, I'm going to offer a challenge. Okay, because I
I'm
hear
ready to
you
hear.
and I
Yes, ma'am.
understand, I'm a person of servitude also. So I totally understand what you're saying. I totally do. However, I still want you to love on you. And so I challenge you we're going to start light, an hour a week. That
Okay.
means you have 7 days to complete this hour of time for you. Whether
Taking it
it's
in.
picking up a book, whether it's going for a walk, sitting down watching, even like if you want to watch some of your documentaries on AI or, whatever it is, like you find great pleasure in, but just
Yeah.
an hour a week. Start
Okay.
there, Giselle. Okay?
Okay.
Because I
I
need
can
you,
do that.
because you deserve that. That's what I need you to understand. You deserve that.
All
Okay?
right.
With this legacy that you're building and leaving, you deserve to enjoy you, outside of everything else. All
All right.
right?
I will take the challenge. I
Okay.
accept the
1 hour,
challenge.
just one
Oh,
hour
yeah,
a
that's
week.
nothing. Yeah,
Okay.
that's
That's
nothing. I can
light.
do
That's
that. That's
light.
nothing. Yeah.
Okay. But I play chess every day, and that's my thing. Like I
Oh,
play on
right
my
on.
phone. Yes, yes, ma'am. We'll go to the park. They go do their thing, and I'm right there playing my chess. Like
Cool.
that's just my, that's my thing. That's my, oh, okay. Like leave me alone.
Yeah.
Well, leave me
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're old
Yes.
enough now. You can talk
And
amongst yourselves.
yes, please, please, please don't talk to me right now. But yes, no, you deserve that. Okay. Okay. So
Thank you. All
last
right.
thing,
Yeah.
before you get out of here, three things you want parents to lead with. If they didn't hear anything else that you said this whole hour, three things that you want them to lead with.
AI can be a source of good for humanity. Without proper guidance, AI is dangerous to children. Being human with AI gives your children the right guidance so that they can get the best out of it that they possibly can.
Nice. Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you created. Thank you for, because that's a big thing. Like I'm sure you probably do understand some what you have created, what you are doing. As far as like you said, leaving your mark on the world and making sure that people are okay with the systems that are being put in place. So know that you are appreciated, and I can't wait to check it out. I can't wait to dive into it with my little people. I'm definitely gonna go through with them because I need them to know, like, look at here.
No.
This robot don't control you, okay? You control it. Like, wow. But yes, parents, always remember, like, you are supported in all that we do. There are always great people that are working to make sure that you have the resources needed to navigate through this wild times that we are in, because it's pretty wild out here. It's pretty wild. But homeschool your kids.
100%.